And welcome back as we continue our journey through the book of Acts. Today we start chapter 27, and we're picking up the story where Paul had just gave his testimony of his conversion, meeting with Jesus and talking about Jesus. And Agrippa was like, man, if he had not appealed to Caesar, he would be a free man by now. So we continue this journey as Paul is now on his way to Rome. Now, we're going to read this portion of scripture and pull out timeless truths like we always do, but I got to warn you. There's a lot of names I don't know, and so I'm not trying to be funny, and I don't want to butcher all these names, so I might skip a couple names. Just hang in there with me. We're going to read verses 1 through 8. Let's dive in. And when it was decided that we should sail for Italy, they delivered Paul and some other prisoners to a centurion of the Augustan cohort named Julius. And embarking in a ship of Adramyttium, which was about to set sail to the ports along the coast of Asia, we put to sea, accompanied by Aristarchus, a Macedonian from Thessalonica. The next day we put in at Sidon, and Julius treated Paul kindly and gave him leave to go to his friends and be cared for. And putting out to sea from there, we sailed under the lee of Cyprus, because the winds were against us. And when we had sailed across the open sea along the coast of Sicilia and Pamphylia, we came to Myra in Lycia. There the centurion found a ship of Alexandria sailing for Italy and put us on board. We sailed slowly for a number of days and arrived with difficulty off of Cnidus. And as the wind did not allow us to go farther, we sailed under the lee of Crete off Siloam. Coasting along it with difficulty, we came to a place called Fair Havens, near which was the city of Lasea. So just after testifying before Agrippa II and Bernice and many of the prominent influential leaders, Paul was finally placed on a ship bound for Rome. And he may have rested in the assurance that this would finally happen, as Jesus had promised in Acts 23:11 that he would testify in Rome just as he has done in Israel. And so he was unshakable in his confidence in the promise of Jesus. Still, the journey was not smooth. And though he was traveling at the fastest means possible in that day, he was still vulnerable to the forces of nature. Now, what's crazy is, as we read earlier in Acts, Jesus was able to teleport disciples just like that, as you remember Philip in Acts chapter 8. Yet Paul was instead led on a long and winding path that tested patience and endurance. Even so, moments of grace broke through as Julius, the centurion, showed Paul kindness, granting him the freedom to visit friends who refreshed and cared for him along the way. The central truth is this: Paul was going to Rome because Jesus said he would. And that promise was enough. The delays, the storms, the uncertainty of the sea, and even the inconvenience of being bound as a prisoner did not alter God's plans. So although he could have reached Rome faster by walking, God had Paul on a slower, more difficult journey where encouragement and blessing still met him through the kindness of others. Now, in the same way, when God speaks, his word will come to pass. Our timelines may stretch longer than we even expect. Our paths may feel hindered by setbacks, but his provision meets us along the way, reminding us that his promises stand firm. And so, church, I just want to encourage you right now. Maybe you're in a season of feeling contrary to the sea. You're in that storm. You're like, God, I'm trying to live for you, but life is even harder. I just want to encourage you that, number one, it's just a season. It's only temporary. It will not be forever. Number two, God is with you even in the storm. And as he told you to take a step, or as he has led you and you've been taking a step by faith, trust that he is with you every single step of the way. And number three, instead of looking at what's going around you in the negative or as, oh man, another setback, or oh man, another attack, look for the fingerprint of God. And what I mean by that is look at the blessings that God has given you despite what's going on. And maybe that's a kind word, a note, an email, maybe even a worship song, or even a sense of his presence of closeness that you haven't experienced in such a long time. Appreciate those moments, because in the heat of that season right there, you'll be blessed by the presence of God in one way or another. God bless.